Hi everyone, thanks for joining me. For today's 60-minute yin practice, you'll need a pair of blocks, a blanket, and a bolster. And if you're missing any of these items, I hope you have a few blankets at home and maybe some towels. You can roll up some blankets together to create a very large bolster-like tube. Also just regular blankets you have to use for cushioning or even as a blanket later on. And then blocks, if you don't have any blocks, books, something that you can use underneath your sacrum, underneath your palms, when we need to use them for a bit of support. And once you've collected all that stuff, and of course your yoga mat, come to a comfortable seated position and close your eyes. Those first few cycles of breath, allowing the body to settle. Just recognizing that there's nothing you have to achieve during this practice. We'll bump up against our edge. We're really just looking to experience the body, the breath, your state of mind as we practice. Take an inhale that fills the belly, the ribs, the collarbone, fill all the way up. And open your mouth, sigh out the breath. Place the left hand over the heart, right hand over the belly. And again, inhale to fill up, expand the torso, take up space. Open your mouth, sigh out the breath. Connect your palms in prayer at heart center, thumbs rest gently into the sternum. Setting an intention for your practice today. Something to carry with you through the practice. And maybe even once you leave your mat. We'll breathe that intention in together. Fill all the way up. Open your mouth and release the breath. And slowly blink the eyes open. Roll forward into tabletop. In that tabletop shape, just moving slow, rounding the spine on an exhale, arching the spine on an inhale. Exhaling to tuck and rounds. Inhaling to lift and arch. One more time. Exhale, tuck and rounds. Inhale, lift and arch. Come back to neutral. Bring the knees together. Untuck the toes. Slide the palms back so they're face up next to the feet and get the torso to connect to your thighs. Forehead to the floor. If you feel like you're kind of stuck, you're not getting very close, you can use a combination of either a bolster, a blanket, or a block. Take that underneath the forehead as you come down. Allowing the body to settle. Having the palms face up, the shoulders relaxed. Try not to bring tension to your jaw and your neck. In our yin practice, we have time in each shape. Those first few moments might involve some fidgeting, some shifting. Once you've found a bit of comfort, even in something that feels a little comfortably uncomfortable, resolve to be still. Follow your breath. In through the nose, and out through the nose. that stillness in your body. Just register your awareness. Whether it's at a physical point in the body that feels uncomfortable, annoying, just jump to your mental state and emotion. Gently nudge that awareness, your attention, back in the direction of your breath. Following it in through the nose and out through the nose. Each exhale, the shoulders, the spine, the hips give you a little more space. Take one more inhale in through the nose. Fill all the way up. And open your mouth, sigh out the breath. Slide the palms forward. Press into the palms. And come back up into tabletop. In your tabletop, inhale, lift the tailbone, lift the chin, arch the spine. Exhale, tuck and rounds. Inhale, lift and arch. Exhale, tuck and rounds. One more time. Inhale, lift and arch. Exhale, tuck and rounds. Come back to neutral. Bring the knees together, the feet together, toes tucked. If you have blocks, the equivalent of blocks, you might bring them with you, sitting back towards your heels with the toes tucked. Try to make sure that all 10 toes are touching the floor. This is way too intense. The blocks that are nearby, come next to the feet, push down gently, giving yourself a little added support. Still too intense, you can come into a kneeling shape. Always welcome to take a blanket under the knees for support and have the toes tucked here, pressing into the balls of the feet, stretching the soles of the feet, our plantar fascia. Settle into that shape. It can be a little intense. I won't keep you here quite as long as the first hold. If you don't need the blocks, just move them out of the way. Palms can rest face up or face down on the thighs. Follow your breath. Settle, become calm. Take one final inhale here, fill all the way up. Open your mouth, sigh out the breath. Shift forward, moving props out of the way if they're there. Palms to the floor, wiggle the toes as you straighten one leg at a time. As both legs become straight, You can take the knees as wide as the mat. Big toes touch. Shift the hips towards the heels. Walking the arms forward. Child's pose. Balasana. Now if this already feels pretty good, you might stay right here. The focus is on the spine getting taller, the arms getting longer, as the torso gets close to the thighs in child's pose. You're looking for a little more intensity into the shoulders and spine. Shifting up to tabletop, move that back so you have more space at the top of the mat. Knees staying underneath the hips. Walk your hands forward. Lower the forehead down towards the floor. Arms stay nice and long. Puppy pose. For your puppy, if you need to, you can always take a block, a blanket, or the bolster underneath your forehead, providing a little bit of support. Settle into your breath, following it in through the nose, out through the nose. Your chosen option. Child's pose or puppy. Not judging the experience, and noticing how much you're fidgeting as you hold the shape. See if you can resolve to be still, whether you're in puppy or child's pose. The second half of this hold. Just another 2 minutes. Breathe in through your nose and out through your nose. Take one last inhale. Fill all the way up. Open your mouth, sigh out the breath. Start to shift forward. From your child's pose or puppy pose, lay the forearms down to the floor. Thighs and pubic bone down to the floor. Finding Sphinx. In your Sphinx position, elbows underneath the shoulders. Shoulders draw back and down so the neck can stay nice and long. Tops of the feet rest into the floor. In your Sphinx pose, if it's a little bit too intense, a few different options. The hands walk forward a bit more, so there's less intensity into the low back. You can use a blanket close to the ribs, providing a bit of support. You can also, if you have access to one, use a bolster. The bolster goes close to the chest and ribs, elbows just in front, shoulders draw back and down. And if you don't have a bolster, that rolled up bunch of blankets, maybe even your rolled up duvet, can make a really good replacement for a bolster. The last option, the thing to decide, is what to do with your head. If the head can stay lifted quite comfortably, then keep the head lifted. If you do need support, using 1 or 2 blocks, you can build yourself a little table to rest the forehead down onto. Make your decision. Set up your shape. Breathe in through your nose and out through your nose. And Sphinx. Just recognizing as we approach the final minute in the shape where your attention may have gone. The shoulders start to sink up towards the ears. Draw them back and down. Very little muscle energy in the shape, but still a little bit. Enough to support the spine. Softening where you're able to. Recognizing where stability is needed. Welcomed. Take one last inhale, fill all the way up. Open your mouth, sigh out the breath. You come out of the shape. If you have a prop underneath you, move that off to the side. Stack the palms, elbows go wide, forehead resting to the back of the hands. Big toes touch near the back of the mat with the heels turning out to the sides of the room. Makrasana, crocodile pose. If you feel like your nose is smushing down into the floor, there's not a lot of space, you can touch the thumbs together with the hands stacked and put your nose in between that gap. Still not enough space, make a fist with one hand, place the palm on top, and then rest your head onto that. If you have a prop nearby, you can always grab your block or a blanket and use that for extra height as well. Softening where you're able to. Shorter hold in this shape, just enough to reset the shoulders, the spine, your hips. Makrasana. Take one more inhale, fill all the way up. And open your mouth, sigh out the breath. Carefully slide the palms underneath the shoulders. And then press yourself up to tabletop. And take the hips and the shoulders side to side. Do cat and cow. Get some blood and lymphatic fluid back into your spine, your hips, your shoulders. Untucking the toes, sit towards your heels, finding a kneeling shape. We'll need a few props for this next setup. Finding your bolster replacements. Take that bolster to the top of the mat, running the length of the mat. Blanket can be placed at the top of the bolster. The base of the skull will end up resting into that prop. If you feel like you don't need that once you lie down, you can always remove the blanket off to the side. Props that you're using as blocks, keep them nearby so you can access them once you're lying down. Turn around. Begin to lie all the way down onto your back. Rib cage supported, shoulder blades, and then the base of the skull supported by the blanket or just the bolster behind you. You shouldn't feel like the head is hanging off the back of the bolster. It should still feel relatively supported by your prop setup. Palms can rest a little ways away from the thighs to start here. Notice how the blocks are nearby, just in case I end up needing them later on. Right now, they can be moved out of the way. Shoulder blades squeeze together. Have the palms resting face up a little ways away from the thighs. Relax your face. Follow the breath in through the nose and out through the nose. Keeping that stillness in your body, send a little more attention to the top of your inhales. The space across your heart and shoulders expanding with the breath. comfortable where you are, don't change a thing. Stay in the same shape. If you're getting pressure into your low back, it's starting to hurt, you may need to bend your knees. Bring the soles of the feet a bit wider and knees knocking into the center. If you're looking for more intensity into the hips and inner thighs, have the blocks nearby. Wiggle the feet to touch. Knees drop out to the sides of the room. Blocks can be placed underneath the thighs if you need it, or under the knees, providing a bit of support in butterfly. Both options work well, they're just different. Choose what works for you. And then settle back into following your breath. In through the nose, out through the nose. Not judging the experience, but noticing where your attention has gone. Whether it's to a physical point in the body, your mental state, and emotion. Allow an inhale to expand the belly, the ribs, the chest, fill all the way up. Open your mouth, sigh out the breath. Reach down with the hands if the legs are in butterfly. Close the legs back up. We'll all bend our knees. Bring the soles of the feet to the floor. Take your palms and press them into the mats. Carefully tucking your chin. Press into the palms and forearms. And then sit all the way up. Once you're sitting up, extend the legs forward. Give them a little shake. You can turn the head side to side. Roll the shoulders. And you make a decision. Turning around to face your bolster. If you'd like to use the bolster for this next shape, you are welcome to. You can also remove it and take it off to the side. Turn the bolster so it runs the width of your mat. And step the feet forward. If you don't want to use the bolster and you're seated forward fold, you're welcome to completely remove the bolster. Just make sure we're not feeling any strain behind the knees or the base of the butt and the insertion points of your hamstring. If you're lucky to be quite tight, I was when I first started practicing, and I still feel pretty tight, especially these days, not walking around the city, you might use a blanket and take that blanket underneath your sit bones, allowing the sit bones to slightly just fall off the front, helping with that slight pelvic tilt, turning the pelvis forward. As you come down into the shape, you might keep the blocks nearby as well. So that as you fold forward over the legs, it's not about grabbing the feet and cranking on the feet, more about getting the torso to connect pretty comfortably towards the thighs. The palms rest face down or face up next to the feet. The head can hang. Over time, as you creep forward, eventually the forehead rests to the bolster, or just all the way down towards the shins if you're not using the bolster here. If you're somewhere in between, you feel a little stuck, then just like our Sphinx, building a little bit of a table, 1 or 2 blocks, place under the forehead, resting the forehead to the blocks. And if you need more than one, get creative. Use more than one. The exact placement of the blocks also depends on where you're rounding the spine, how much you can extend forward. So a few people might even have the block set up right on the bolster itself, with the forehead resting into their blocks. We'll all look a little different. Choose what works for you. Breathing in through your nose and out through your nose. As you start to settle into this shape, just notice if there's any conscious or unconscious tension here. Are you squeezing, forcing, trying to go deeper? Try to let go of that effort. Use a bit of muscle effort to support the body where it needs to be supported. If you're feeling pain. Otherwise, less and less muscle energy taking you into this shape. Bit by bit. Releasing forward and down. Breath comfortable and easy. If it helps you to follow the breath, think about on the inhales, the spine getting a little taller. And on the exhales, as the belly draws in, you release a bit closer to the thighs. Inhaling to grow taller. Exhaling to creep a bit further forward. Our seated forward fold, often referred to as caterpillar in our yin practice. I like to think it's called caterpillar because of that action of the spine. Slowly crawling up the thighs. Take one more inhale, in through the nose. Open your mouth, sigh it out. Slowly come all the way back up. No rush to get there. Move the bolster off to the side. Move the blanket off to the side. Extending the legs forward. Give the legs a little shake. Turn your head side to side, roll the shoulders. Very carefully, lying all the way down onto your back. One vertebra at a time until we soften into the mat. Feeling the length of your spine settle. And if what you're noticing after that forward fold is low back, you feel like I need to keep the knees bent once we lie down. It's possible that we're straining the back a little bit in that seated forward fold. So backing off, adding more propping may be a bit more sustainable for your practice. Carefully bend your knees and bring the soles of the feet to the floor. Begin to windshield wiper the knees to the right and to the left. Massaging the outer hip, the space across the back of the pelvis. It's a slow movement. It's less about throwing the knees through space and more about acknowledging the sensation of massage, the muscles in the outer hip, as you roll across the rubber of your mat. Coming back through center, keep the upper body where it is, but just slightly shift your hips to the left. And then lower both knees to the right. The right hand can rest into the left thigh, adding a little bit of help. Left arm reaches out towards the wall. Turn your gaze to the left hand. Try to keep pulling that left shoulder and shoulder blade down to the mat. If it's lifted quite a bit, you can grab a blanket, put it underneath the right thigh. See if that helps to release the left shoulder back down towards the floor. You can also place that blanket between the thighs if it feels kind of uncomfortable with the left thigh hovering over the inner right thigh. You're also welcome to use the bolster or the blocks if you need some propping here. In your spinal twist, feel the left hip move a little further away from the left shoulders. You can even use the right hand to push into the hip crease here and send that left hip further away from the left shoulder, lengthening side body, outer hip, left shoulder and chest. Breathe in through your nose and out through your nose. Settle into your reclined spinal twist. Not judging the experience, but noticing your breath in this shape. If there's a slight feeling of restriction to the breath, no problem. Allow that to massage the internal organs. Still trying to find a full and complete inhale, filling belly, ribs, collarbone. Acknowledging that it might feel different, and that's okay. Allow the breath to help you to create space as you breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. as you hold this for time, noticing your desire to fidget or move. And if you're able to be still, just acknowledge that stillness. Easing out of the sympathetic nervous system, our stress response, bit by bit more deeply into the parasympathetic nervous system, our rest response. Less and less effort, more and more ease. Take one more inhale, fill all the way up, and as you sigh out the breath, carefully come back through center. Step the feet to the top of the mat, lie flat. Notice left to right side, any apparent balance or imbalance. And then slowly bending the knees, begin to windshield wiper the knees to the right and the left. Massaging the outer hips. If you are getting pops and clicks into low back, just like the seated forward fold, allow that first side here in the twist to tell you a story about how deep you went, whether you pushed just a little bit too much. You can come back through center. Carefully move your hips just slightly to the right. The shoulders and head stay where they are. Both knees fall to the left. Left hand can press gently into the right thigh. Very easy pressure pushing down. Right arm reaches out towards the side. Turn your gaze towards the right hand. If the right shoulder is lifted quite a bit in an effort to bring the thighs down, you can take a bolster, a block, really any prop to give you supports between the thighs or underneath the thigh in an effort to release that right shoulder and shoulder blade back down towards the mat. Left side, right side might not be the same. So always feel free to set yourself up slightly different left to right if it feels like that's required. Following the breath in through your nose, out through your nose. Comfortable and easy. Noticing the breath here. Left to right is the same or slightly different. Keep trying to fill belly, ribs, collarbone with your breath. Lengthening right side body, the outer hip, chest, and shoulder. Creating space where you need it. Softening where you're able to soften. Just noticing where the attention is gone. Try to bring it back to your breath. Flowing in through the nose and out through the nose. Comfortable and easy. Try to let the body settle. There's less and less effort here to be in this shape. One last inhale, fill all the way up. Open your mouth, sigh out the breath. Very gingerly, carefully, come back through center. Step the feet to the top of your mat and lie flat for a moment. Feel left side, right side. Acknowledge the shift, however subtle. This last shape, you'll need your blocks. If you'd like to, you can also do the same shape with a bolster. Bending the knees, bring the soles of the feet to the floor. Carefully lift the hips up off the mats. Take the blocks, 1 or 2, place at the lowest setting underneath your sacrum. For most people, they'll start with 1 block at the lowest setting, and then decide maybe to go to the medium setting before stacking a second prop on top. You're looking for a height that works for you. What works for me, and with these particular blocks we have at home, is 2. The knees can stay bent. Paying attention to what you feel in the lumbar spine, in your low back. You might step 1 foot and then the other foot towards the top of the mat, lying flat over your prop setup. Lengthening the front of the hips, our hip flexors and lower abdominal wall getting tugged longer. Remembering that our back bends are an effort to stretch the front. Our forward folds stretch the back, our back bends stretch the front. If you have variations you enjoy using for a supported back bend, you are welcome to take those variations. Breathe in through your nose and out through your nose. Noticing where the attention is gone, whether it's to a physical point in the body, your mental state and emotion. Gently nudge that attention in the direction of your breath. Carefully lengthening each inhale and each exhale. Take an inhale that expands belly, ribs, and collarbone. Fill all the way up. Open your mouth, sigh out that breath. If the legs are extended, slowly bend the knees. Bring the soles of the feet to the floor. Lift the hips up off your prop setup and move it out of the way. Lay the spine down slowly. Windshield wiper the knees to the right, to the left. For our last shape, make yourself as comfortable as possible. You might take a bolster behind the knees. You can use your blanket like a blanket. Make yourself cozy for Shavasana, corpse pose. And as you set that shape up, take all those little fidgets to help you to find stillness. Rest the palms face up, a little ways away from thighs. Close your eyes. And follow your breath. In through the nose. Out through the nose. Separating the tongue from behind the teeth. Relax the muscles in your face. Your practice is complete. And so are you. Keep that stillness in your body. Bring your awareness back. Gently nudge that awareness in the direction of your breath, lengthening each inhale and exhale. And as breath returns you to your body, move your fingers, move your toes, turn your head side to side. Inhale, reach fingertips towards the wall behind you, toes to the front. Exhale and soften. One more time, inhale to stretch. Exhale to soften. Bend your knees, bring the soles of the feet to the floor. Roll to right side body. And then pushing into the left palm. Carefully sit all the way up. Find a comfortable seated position, cross-legged or kneeling. It doesn't have to be the same way you started your practice. Stacking the spine up tall. Close your eyes. Acknowledge those subtle shifts after 60 minutes of practice. Take an inhale that fills belly, ribs, and collarbone. Fill all the way up. Open your mouth, sigh out the breath. Place the left hand over the heart, right hand over the belly. One more time. Inhale, expand. Take up space in the torso. Open your mouth, sigh out that breath. Connect the palms in prayer at heart center, thumbs rest into the sternum. Thank yourself for taking this time. Thank those out there practicing for sharing their energy. I hope you take some of this with you off your mat to share with everyone that you love. Namaste. Really appreciate you taking the time to practice. If you have questions or comments for us, please feel free to comment below, and also send us a direct message on Instagram if you have anything you'd like to chat about. Until next time, take care.